Constructing your life is about much more than just building a bank account. Each week, join real estate entrepreneur and mindset coach Austin Linney as he interviews guests who are constructing their dream lives and impacting the world around them on a daily basis. If you're an entrepreneur or wanting to start a business, or you just want to hear motivating stories of how others have overcome the odds, you are in the right place. And now for your host, Austin Linney.
Guys, welcome back to Construct Your Life. I have the unofficial TikTok star, Jonathan Farber, in the house. Retirement, TikTok star. We don't even know what he does, guys, but we're going to have an amazing conversation. It's really great to have you back again, brother.
I'm excited to be here, man. It's always great catching up with you.
So, dude, since we talked last time, something happened.
What happened?
Something bigger happened.
I got LASIK. I got LASIK on Friday.
Well, that happened for sure, but you left your W-2, man.
Oh my God. Was it that long ago that we did this?
Yes, bro. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Dude, how does that feel? How does that feel, man? Like serious, don't sugarcoat it. Don't BS it. Like, cause I know you're always on to the next, you're traveling, you're enjoying your life, but like that had to be a big moment for you.
You know, at the beginning, I was really nervous. I was nervous for months because I realized it was the first time in 27 years that the umbilical cord was unplugged, you know? Like I realized that it was the first time my whole life I had no structure. And being an entrepreneur in a company, you know, if you do sales, you may have a little bit less structure, but I was nervous, even though I felt like, okay, I have the hustle, like I have skills that I've acquired, but still when you're out there on your own with no coverage, it's all these first time questions. I would say now it's very, not even very different. It's eight or 9 months, but totally different like view on it now. But at the beginning I was relieved, maybe like 40%, 30%, but I was nervous, man. There was a transition and it was not as easy as I expected.
So I tell everybody, there's two things that always find a place if you don't make a place for them: time and money. And, you know, the hardest thing that I've seen, because I coach a lot of people that have left their job, it is that pure, because what happens is you feel like you're shot out of a cannon because your time bucket goes from, I don't have any to, I have all in the world. And then you overwork yourself, right? Or then you beat yourself up for overworking yourself, or you're not working enough. And it's this like, you're like swinging on both sides of the pendulum, and you kind of have to, you know, life's about rhythm. You have to kind of find your rhythm to things, right? And when you kind of like, because I never, you know, somebody asked me this morning, they were like, hey, could you lead a goal setting workshop for our coaching group? And I was like, no, I don't do that. I don't do.
I like that. Yeah.
I win the day, and it's those small things. And so I would imagine that you have certain metrics, even though you do enjoy your time. I would imagine you have certain metrics that you had to create in your life to kind of feel like you're handling what you need to handle, but enjoying yourself at the same time.
You know, it was weird timing because for me, I actually was hustling as hard as I ever had been until that point. And then when I left the job, it was actually the exact week that I closed on the last property that I felt like would comfortably set me, quote unquote, financially free. So I actually was working the hardest I'd ever worked from the day COVID started until about 14 months after, when the job and I parted ways. But then after, it was a little bit of like reflecting. I did take some time off and actually relax, you know, but that was really because I was a little burned out from the last year and a half of like seeing COVID as this major opportunity to kind of compress long-term goals. And I still feel like there's like shakeout of the ability to do that with working from home or like flexibility from COVID, but that was my outlook of it. So I literally didn't do anything during COVID other than work to try to set this up so that it could be running in a way that I wanted to after. And then in taking time off, you know, I started focusing on some other things. And part of that was creating content. TikTok was a completely unexpected thing and has led to so many cool opportunities now. And then also doing more branding stuff. But yeah, it was a weird like time to just make that transition and think about, okay, like what is the next thing? And I actually always had a little bit of like during my W-2 job, a good handle on time management, because I used to play this game with myself. I probably picked it up from Tim Ferriss, like a version of it. But every week in my corporate job, I was trying to do my corporate job in 10 hours or less. And I would ask myself, if someone had a gun to my family's head, how could I do the job in 10 hours? Because what I would do is every week when I hit 10 hours of work on corporate, I would just shut my laptop and I would open up my entrepreneur laptop. And if it needed to be dealt with, it would just roll to the next week from the corporate like side of things. So I was really diligent with time management. And then, yeah, I mean, going into like setting goals, now I have a new, I feel like, connection with my why and like what's energizing me. But over the summer and like, you know, spring and fall, I was a little bit, I would say, more on like step back mode and kind of assessing everything. But now I feel almost like life is like the seasons, to your point. Like in the winter, I always find myself kind of back into the hustle. Well, you know, just maybe it's that New York mentality. Weather's bad, you can't do as much. I can't play golf. So it's like, that's what you do. It gets dark, you know, you got to grind. But yeah, that's just right now, here and there.
I equate it to I have many speeds. I'm like a performance race car. And when I feel it's time to slam the pedal to the thing and put the RPMs up, I go hard. But then when I'm off, like I'm way off. There's no, like, you know, I guess the thing that I work on a daily basis is the middle ground, right? Is like, and so, you know, I had a call with my coach on Monday, and one of the things that we were talking about is like, he said something very profound to me. He said that physically you've created the life that you want. Mentally, you're still not there yet. Meaning your schedule equates to you're really busy Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday with free reign on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but your mind hasn't learned how to turn off Thursday, Friday yet. So like physically you've created the world that you want to live in, but until you embody it fully, completely, then you won't be the exact version of yourself that you're looking for. And I thought that was super profound.
Yeah. I mean, I'm obviously still figuring out first year in entrepreneurship. I had an idea of what I think I want to do going forward, which would be 7 to 8 months of like, I would say work months where I can be living maybe in Colombia or living in Florida or New York, but those are still months that I'm like still a little more focused on bigger projects. And I want to go hard on those during those times. But then for me, just being a golfer and that being an important part of my life, I think the way I would like to set it up would be then from like May to September, that's like an off period where things can run without me. If I choose to work, it's like just maybe a little bit of a like a have to do instead of like a want to do. But the other time during like the winter months, I think I do enjoy putting my head down and working on projects. You know, I need something, man. Like it's that old expression, like idle time is the devil's workshop or idle hands are the devil's work. Like I don't do well when I just have nothing to do, like period, you know, and I know a lot of people fall into the busy trap, but like, you know, if you can find something that makes you money, you're good at doing something you like doing to then use for your busy time, I think it's just a good solution or kind of like a healthy solution to that. But for me, I like to do something. If it's either golf or travel or work, I enjoy it, you know, and it's nice to not have to do it, but it's just something that now like I wouldn't have met you if I wasn't like kind of working in stuff I like doing and meeting people. So I don't know. I just need something. I always need a one thing. I always need a project. Otherwise, I feel like my mind just like slows down. I feel like I start getting dumb and I start feeling just like bad thoughts. I don't want that.
Yeah. And I think ultimately like that picture that everybody saw, you know, especially when I was growing up, you know, that picture of everybody sold you of like, hey, go to the beach and like unplug. And like, I did that. And it fucking sucks. Like I was in Costa Rica and I was like, I don't like this at all. Like not even for a minute. Like I have to get so stoned to chill out. Like, you know, and it's like, you know, I always equate Bobby Bowden. Like Bobby Bowden was my shit, bro. Like I love Florida State back in the day, like when I was growing up, like Charlie Ward, fucking all those ballers, you know? Oh, geez. And they said, hey, you know, when are you going to give up coaching? And he goes, why? I love it. Like it gives me life. And it's like, you're all searching for that thing, but like you might be living the life that you're dreaming of, like as you speak right now.
Dude, I can't agree with that like enough. And I fought that for a long time because I was reading the personal development books and I was listening. I think you have to find it for yourself, especially in like a new business. Like all the self-help books are like, meditate, hike, read. Okay. They all say that. What I found is reading, I learn better from video. So even though everyone's saying you got to read to be successful, I'm like, you know what? I read tons of books, but if I want to actually learn, I need to talk to people and I need to watch content. That's how I learn and take action. So right there, then I was like, I don't enjoy hiking. Like I tried it. Everyone's like, you got to do it. You got to get outside. I'm like, you know what? I like golf. So like self-awareness, that, and then like meditating, like I tried it for a year. Again, for me, taking walks by myself with no phone, that worked better. So it's just like, there's a lot that I think you can try and brainstorm and then find it for yourself. And then the last thing is like, for me, everyone's like, oh, like, have fun or like go to a beer garden or like, go to a bar. I'm like, I don't want to fucking do that stuff. Like for me personally, I'd rather just like do a dinner with people or whatever. Like, but I think it's easy when you're hearing about all the ways that people kind of embody success or the way it should be done to get caught up in that, and it's just like, it takes time, and some of it you need to find, some of it you need to experiment with. And then, you'll talk to people that may be in positions that you are and you can figure it out. But I don't know. For me, it took a little bit of time to figure out, and also then have the confidence, just be like, I don't like doing these things that people say you should do, but I like doing what I like to do. And then that's how I'm going to spend my time. So
the single greatest thing that I think personally has set me on my path the last like year and a half at least is the walking in the morning. It's not it's not an option. Doesn't matter where I am. Doesn't matter what the weather is. Doesn't matter if it's a blizzard out there. Like I need it because it's like I don't know. It's hard to describe because I'm not saying I'm sitting there like staring at the birds and stuff. Like half the time I'm listening to a book or watching some content or like posting about something. But there is I don't know. It's just like my mental exercise, like for my brain and like kind of like get me out and stuff like that. And I don't think I would feel the same way if I just went straight into my office and started getting in. Like this is like, I love what I do, but I also love who I am outside of my work too. And one of the things me and my girlfriend talk about a lot is how Americans love labels. They love labels, well, you're this, well, you're that. Like, no, actually I'm none of those things, like I'm just me. And so that part about self-awareness that you're talking about, I think that's everything. Because nobody's perfect. Nobody's going to be perfect. But if you know what works for you and you feed into more of that, then I think you'll get where you need to go.
It's probably the most important thing. If you think about any skill, like it would be at the top, because then you can come up with a plan. If you have self-awareness, then you can figure out what you need. But if you don't take the time to think about that, and some of it can come from coaching, from thinking, from talking to people, of like getting outside perspectives on I remember when I was first starting this entrepreneurial journey, I sent out a survey to like 50 people. And I was literally asking them candidly, like, what do you think my strengths and weaknesses are? And just rip me a new one. Literally just tell me where I'm a complete freak and that you hate me. And also tell me where you think I'm great and I'm doing a lot of good stuff and I have strengths. Because, we have an idea in our head, but sometimes it's different. And that actually did help. It kind of reinforced some things that I sort of already felt, but then there were a couple of new things. But, I think anything we can do to get a better handle of self-awareness and, a path for ourselves is the shortcut, is the cheat, and will probably make you a happier person.
Well, look, it's a delicate dance because I think as the CEO and the visionary, I think you need to know enough to be dangerous, but I don't think you need to be bogged down. Like one of my big pillars for next year is to understand financial performance and modeling, right? Because we're buying big hotels. Like my mentor's like, hey, you can't just throw dog shit on my email. Like it needs to be vetted out. You need to know that it's a deal. And like, part of me wants to tell him like, shove it in your, what? And then part of me tells me like, if I want to be the next best version of myself, I need to know enough where I can understand it so I can cut out, it's really about saving time. That's what he's asking. Has nothing to do with like, Austin, you need to be Mike Travella, like the greatest CPA underwriter. No, he's just saying like, you need to know that like within 5 seconds, whether or not I actually need to look at this or not, which I think that takes it's a hard conversation.
For sure.
I'm not saying it was fun. That conversation was not, but I'm grown up enough to know that like, that is an area that I would like to if I want to buy businesses, if I want to continue on. Now, one of the things that we talk about, I think we talked about it last time we were golfing, is this new idea that I'm on the last couple of weeks, is that we can be a prisoner to our own vision. Right. And I think that, meaning, you and I talk about, every time we get together, all we do is talk about, like, do you need to scale? Do you need to go crazy? Like, there's some days I really wish I was just a salesman and I didn't want to like impact the world. I didn't want to leave a legacy. Like, do you ever fight with that? Like back and forth of like, I'm doing too much, or I'm not where I need to be, or like I need to do more. Like, do you ever fight with that back and forth in your head?
I was a lot, like 3 months ago, I was back and forth between, do I want to build this huge thing, and do I just want to be like an anonymous, wealthy person? I actually feel right now, could change the next time we do one of these. I feel actually pretty at peace with where I want to be, which is just keeping a very small team, a lean business with really high margins in everything we do, and just doing it in a smart way that can impact a lot of people. So I have zero interest in having a big company. I have zero interest in having a lot of employees, but I do have financial goals, and I do, in some cases, like the niceties that come along with having money. But I just think that there are ways that can, you can. Do you want to
know
that.
why? Do you want to know why you want to create that thing?
Yeah, like right now I want to join 3 country clubs. There's 3 country clubs I want to join.
No, I get that, but do you want to know why you want to keep your companies that way? Because you value being able to pivot when you need to.
Yeah, that's probably it. I don't want people problems. That's the main reason.
That's definitely your
people suck. People suck. Like there's different types of problems, and I don't want, because here's the thing: people require trading time for money. People require phone calls. They require hand holding. They require training. So I want a small, tight circle of people around me that can be great, can train, can document, can systematize. But for me, I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze when it comes to bringing a big people in. Like, if you ever, this is very profound. Someone said this to me, and it was so interesting. You don't want clients, you want customers. And when you recognize the difference in that, your entire world can change. That's why SaaS companies are worth $1 billion, and marketing companies that have to design work each time individually for someone are worth 1/50th of that, because it's a bad business model compared to having something that can scale and not be people dependent. And one of my friends really helped me understand that, because he just got out of his marketing agency. He was depressed for 2 years because he was in a client business, and now he's getting only into SaaS businesses that are customer businesses. And that for me was really interesting. It's also why now I'm doubling down on YouTube, digital products, TikTok, because those can scale and they're not people related. They're not trading time directly for money. They are unscheduled activities. So for me, and same with Airbnb, and the same with, building out a system for the wholesaling business. But yeah, I mean, it definitely, to your point, it might take away your ability to pivot and leverage, but I don't want anyone to call me. I don't want anyone random to be like, hey, this is the problem. No, it's just, I want the good stuff. So and I know business, there's not always, and I deal with problems, but like in a perfect world, if we're asking like, what's euphoric or, like utopia business, it would be that. I don't want a big team. I don't want a big, potential issue there, but if you can keep high margins and have it run the smart way, I don't think you necessarily need that.
Yeah, we're super similar. I think this is why I'm like falling in love with affiliate marketing. I think this is why I'm like,
affiliate marketing is unbelievable.
Dude, let me tell you something right now. You don't even know what I'm bringing out to the table, bro. Like I just found, I'm building a website for it. I just found out that we can get 5 Gs for one Amazon store every time we recommend an Amazon store to this company. I'm like, dude, like that's one product of 100. Like, dude, I'm building out a team. Like this is in my opinion, I think this is, and by the way, 90% of this is focused towards SaaS companies.
Dude, it's the reason why I think right now the most important skills to learn.
You don't own anything.
Dude, I think the most important skills to learn right now are advertising in like 2022, digital, and brand building. Those are the 2 ways. Basically, that's all it is free and paid attention, or organic and paid attention. I think if you can get good at those 2 skills, you will never have to trade time for money again. if you don't want to. If you want to, like I was talking to someone else about this, he's like, my dad's a doctor and he loves it. And you know what? I was even thinking when I had LASIK, the guy that does it, he's worth like $40 million. He enjoys doing it. He enjoys helping people. So in that case, yes, it's amazing. But for those that don't, and that's where I feel like a lot of people that connect with my messages, if you don't, then don't do it. If you do, then do it. But yeah, I think if you can just like affiliate marketing, man,
dude,
insane.
Dude, I tell you right now. So I had lunch. I introduced this guy who's a great chiropractor out of California. We had lunch. He's in Jake and Gino, and Anthony introduced me, and we got to talking. And he's like, hey, what do you think? You know me, I'm always trying to help people and stuff. And so he's got a great practice. And he was like, so I have two options. He goes, what happened was I couldn't get anybody to market my fucking business. They didn't understand it because they weren't fucking doctors. He's like, I went through like 3 agencies. So he said, I started doing my own marketing. And then 3 other doctors asked me to do their marketing. And he goes, what do you think I should do? Scale the marketing or scale my business? And I go, hello, 90% of what you're marketing can be outsourced and you don't have to be location dependent and you could make 30 times the money. And he was like, I never thought I would go to chiropractor school to be a marketer, but think about this. There's no marketers that are chiropractors doing what they actually need to see the business from a doctor's point of view. And he's like, this is gold because now I can move to Tahoe full time and I don't have to live in the place I don't want to live into and I can work from anywhere. And he was like, this is crazy. And I was like,
it's back to self-awareness. It's back to self-awareness. What we were talking about before. I see people that get into real estate because they want passive income or they want cash flow. And then they go straight into multifamily or they go straight into flipping. And at the end of the day, then you could say, well, what if you could make the same amount of money doing the same thing with less time? But and I did this too, was kind of locked into the identity part of it of, well, yes, maybe I'm not as interested in the money. I'm interested in the identity of it. But then it's like, is that true? Or are we sort of telling ourselves some sort of lie? There are a lot of different ways to make money, but if you're looking for kind of like the way to do it, it just needs to align with whatever your end goal is, and that could be passive, active, or the activity that you like doing to actually generate that money for yourself. But I feel like back to that point, if people can get clear on that, they'll have a much easier time and they'll be happier with whatever choice they make.
Guys, you know what, man? I have been in this short-term rental game for so long. I think I'm paying the light bills over at Airbnb and HomeAway and those companies. The fees are getting ridiculous. And the only way to do that is to stop building your real estate on somebody else's platform. And my man, Mark Simpson, Book Direct Playbook, the book is coming out. And this is a no-brainer. We got the hotels. The hotels do 50% direct booking on our website because of the tips and tricks that he's taught us with marketing and so on and so on. I've got a preview of this book. It is a game changer. Make sure you check it out, dude. You won't regret keeping more of your money for yourself. Because ultimately at the end of the day, we're all searching for that one thing. It's freedom. And it's not freedom from like, I don't do anything. It's freedom from choice. It's choice. Now, here's the rub though, is that 90% of y'all don't realize that you're already free. You just don't lean into it.
Really? Okay. I want to hear what that means. Because I don't think most people are free.
They're not free from their responsibilities, but ultimately they're free in their mind if they choose to be. It's their attachment to the identity of the job or what the paycheck says to them that allows them to not be free. But ultimately you have a choice, and I'll lay it on you. Aubrey Marcus and Ed Milet had an amazing pod, one of the best I've ever listened to. And he said, you could not eat. And that's your choice. You would die. You could not drink water and you would die, but that's still your choice. He goes, the problem with it is everybody's walking around bitching and moaning like they don't have a choice. You're the one that put yourself in the house. You're the one that bought the car you couldn't afford. You're the one that has credit card debt. You could get rid of all that shit and you could just be ultimately free, but you're too worried about what the status symbol of your fucking car and your house means to the society when guess what? Nobody gives a fuck because they're worried about themselves. So you have a choice. It's an ultimate freedom choice. The guy that you just met before on this call made a choice that I was going to leave my job as an established multifamily broker because I didn't like the people in the office. And now he's made $300K in 8 months and they live off $3,000 a month. He don't have to work for the next 2 years because he made a choice to choose freedom and be a present father over what the status symbol of a multifamily broker meant.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's just there's so much to say on that. Like, for me, the year I made the most money, I had the nicest things. I was the unhappiest. And now I don't make as much as I made then, because that was like a stupid kind of thing that happened. But by the hour, I make way more. But I wear the same shirt every day. Like I've said this like jokingly. I realized more that like the things aren't doing it for me. Like, and you know, you can test it for yourself, because sometimes people may actually love the watch or love the car. By the way, I'm getting rid of this Breitling. I might do a giveaway next week. So if anyone, you know, wants to talk about that, we'll brainstorm. For me, I don't like the stuff though. This stuff doesn't do it for me. So, you know, again, back to that self-awareness thing. But yes, if you really live a lean life, kind of like we were talking about before, the lean business, what I found, it reduces stress, because you don't have to worry about the overhead. You don't have to worry about doing the thing because you need the money.
You don't have to.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just, is this making me happy? Is this giving me energy? Yes or no? And a lot of times when people feel like they're forced to do it for the money, it's to support the stupid stuff that you're talking about. Another example, just one quick example of this that I realized, like, I said at the beginning, I had LASIK last week. Okay. I can't remember the last thing that has made me this happy. And it's, yes, money did give me the opportunity to get laser beam shot into my eyeballs, but that wasn't a materialistic thing. And literally, like, I don't care. You could give me 20 Rolexes. It wouldn't make me as happy as having my eyesight back. So it's just like experience, people,
what do they,
and like working with fun
what do
stuff.
they say like, you know, a rich person wants 1,000 things, an unhealthy person needs one thing. Like, you know, what's interesting. And I agree. And this is not scalable in the long term when I have kids and everything, but you know why I love coaching? Because it's innately my time. Here's the time. No, I don't have anybody to answer to. I get to show up, be present for my clients, affect their life. I get paid for my services, and I'm out the side door. Like, when it comes to the businesses I'm trying to create, it's, how are you feeling this day? Well, what is the client going to think here? There's so, like, don't get me wrong. I love it and I'm going to do it. But I've always made myself a promise that 6 years, I'm like an NFL quarterback right now. 45 is my get. It's going to be a big decision for me. I'm going to sell what I don't want to, and I'm going to keep what I want. And then the next 40 years of my life is going to be 100% service based. Meaning serve, not service, serve, where I'm going to be supporting high school, middle school, elementary kids and financial literacy and investing. That's what I want to do with my life. I've made a decision that at 50 years old, from then on, I'm going to be a father. I'm going to impact lives, and I'm probably going to do it for free. Like, I've made a decision. Like, I spent enough time in turmoil and enough abusing myself with alcohol and drugs that it's the same question I ask everybody that I coach. When you're dead and gone, what do you want? What do you want them to say about you? And in my opinion, I have a dream. You want to hear my dream? This is my dream.
Let's hear it.
I want to be in Italy, in a small town, living in my villa. And I want to be walking down the street at 65 years old on a cobblestone street. And I want somebody to yell out, "Holy shit, that's Austin fucking Linney from across the street," right? And I want him to run up to me, and I want to go, "I don't know who the fuck you are." And he goes, "No, you don't know me, but you coached Jay, and Jay is now my coach, and he changed my life. And I'm forever grateful because I'm now sober because of him." So you making him the best version of himself created the life that I'm leading. And it's the ripple effect of impact. What are you leaving when you walk off this earth?
That's deep. That's real. That's not just trading time for money.
It's trading time for impact, which I could do.
Very different.
Yeah, which I can do, because then guess what? Tell me how you're going to beat me. You're not. Because I'm not burning off the same fuel that you are. That's why you get burnt out, guys. That's why it's stop and start, because the fuel that you're burning isn't absolute.
So true. The reason could be wrong. You know, the whole why or the foundation of it.
And so I think that when I look at you and I look at your brand and I look at what you bring to the world, one of the things that I think that you specialize in, and I could take some notes on, I think that you are an amazing community builder. Like, I really think that you understand, maybe it's your service-based mindset, but talk about there's a lot of Facebook groups out there. There's a lot of different stuff and I get really back and forth with Facebook groups, but I feel like yours, that sustained impact and energy within your group, has stayed for the long go. I think a lot of people have got value out of it. How do you do that? Everybody wants their own kind of paid, their own traffic and stuff like that. What's the secrets behind a community?
When I back to self-awareness, when I look back at what I've always been comfortable doing, some people you hear the expression in sales, oh, do you get satisfaction from getting the trophy or giving the trophy? It's like a corporate sales kind of slogan. Mm-hmm. And it's should you be in sales or management? I've always gotten satisfaction out of bringing people together, connecting people, or organizing the platform, as much of maybe, if not more than having the conversations myself. And I also feel less pressure in it. I think if you can do it the right way, you can remove yourself from a lot of it, but you're still remembered in a good way. So as far as the Facebook group and the groups that we've done on Instagram or, any of the smaller groups, one, I like the idea that it does scale and that it is better for community. But I feel if you can create an environment where people don't feel they're only there for support, it's a reason why I don't use Bigger Pockets anymore, because I feel that community turned, in my opinion, snobbish, and the forums became a high nose contest and a criticize contest, where that's not conducive to getting the best result and actually getting help for your problems. Or it was a joke. So I don't know. I just found if you gave people an opportunity to feel comfortable talking openly, discussing their problems. One thing I've struggled with in that community is at the beginning, I would be posting more myself. And now I'm, always wondering how much should I be posting, or, are they there for my solutions or to hear my questions too? And that's something I kind of go back and forth on. But anyway, I feel just setting the guidelines, and then, we're also very strict with what people can post or can't post. And, removing people, with no kind of strike policy, that's helped keep, I'd say, the gates kind of set, and, people feel good about it. And then from there, it leads to a lot of other kind of, content and people being brought in and showing what they've done, or, checking out other stuff. So it's been a fun way. And it's just again, scalable. We can have people that do contests and get more people in the groups, or we can run ads or whatever. But, it's become a fun thing that was really unexpected.
I love that. Now we're going to talk about the topic that we could have spent I might get John angry on this one. This is going to be fun. When people, hey, I want you to be my mentor.
It's a tough one. It's a really tough one, man. I mean,
you and I talk about this all the time. Nobody's willing to put in the work anymore. They just want to hand it to them, gift wrapped. They're not falling in love with the results. They're falling in love with the results, not the process. They don't want to hear about the process.
I look at the mentor thing of 4 or 5 stages. The worst thing anyone could do is get no help, do nothing, not even try to fix their problems. That's unfortunately kind of the lowest of the totem pole. Then beyond that, I'd say it would be someone that just sends 1 or 2 messages to people and they just say, hey, will you be my mentor? And that's better, but it's not going to really get great results. And then, you move up the ladder of interacting with people's content, giving them value, really going out of your way to provide value and do some work. But I get why people don't do it, but I think it's more they're just not familiar with the way to do it. They've never been taught on the way to go about bringing someone value. And it can then be kind of harsh when they feel they either need to do something in return for time, or they need to pay for the time. But I think once you get into this, you realize that people are busy, and if there's only so many people that you can help, there's going to be times where you need to only help the people that give an effort to help themselves. And that's really what it comes down to, because you've poured into people, I've poured into people. And ultimately, the people that think that they're doing the one thing to check the box, it's really only hurting them when they're not getting the result that they want by, they have a disconnection between their goal and their actions. And, that's where I think a lot of people get depressed or sad when they're trying to figure out how to achieve their goals, is there's a huge disconnection there. So like I create tons of content on how anyone can get a mentor in literally 1 week, but it's a couple extra steps. And, the things that are easy to do are also easy not to do. And that's kind of the way the world works with economics. There's always going to be supply and demand. And luckily, there's always going to be people that do the stuff and people that don't do the stuff. And, I think me and you try to pour into people that can do the stuff, and they're going to take the steps.
Mm-hmm. This has been the hardest thing in my coaching, because, I have a need, I have a want to help as many people as possible. And I just had a situation this week. Like I'm a pretty chill guy. Like I don't really come at, like, I know that sounds crazy to say, but I don't really go at people. I don't think that, everybody's going through something. I don't think I need to personally like roast them up. Like I just don't do that shit, unless you cross me in like money or something. But, I had a client who signed up. I bought him the book. I did the vision out for him and everything. And then like 30 minutes before he was supposed to show up for his first call, like made up some bullshit excuse. And I didn't respond because I was livid right in that moment. So I took like 3 hours and kind of like calmed down a little bit. And I was like, hey, look, at the end of the day, you do whatever you want for your family. I'm never going to be the one to tell you how to spend your money. But for you to parade out some bullshit excuse, like, kiss my ass. And I was like, more importantly, now you wasted my time. So I got up early for you on the West Coast because you're in Florida because you asked. And now you got me up 2 hours and I normally get up early. And now you text me 20 minutes. I said, not cool. Not cool. Don't text me again. Like, dude, at the end of the day, like you're done, bro. You're roasted. Like, and here's what you don't understand. I'm in a hotel right now, building a hospitality hotel empire with a guy I met on Instagram that offered me a 15-minute meeting that I flew across the country for, that turned into a 3-hour meeting. You don't know that the one person that you didn't want to put the effort for in couldn't be the one that changed your entire life.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think most people, they get to a breaking point. They want to do as much good as they can. I used to do 14 free calls every Friday for 6 months. I just put my Calendly out there. I put on every YouTube video, Facebook. And the thing that was fascinating would be half the people wouldn't show up.
Yep.
But for the people that would, I was happy. And the people that wouldn't, whatever. I at the beginning was looking at it like it's a time to catch up on stuff or whatever. But I heard an expression that really, it holds true. It's that people that don't pay attention. And it doesn't matter if you're paying with your time. It doesn't matter if you're paying with your energy, paying with your money. It's like when your parent gives you a car, the kid probably, ends up crashing the car because they don't care about the car or the thing. They didn't do anything to get it. So there's no attachment to it. And that's ultimately why business works and why, there is a cost. And that's why it makes more sense. I mean, I want to help people, but there was the reward of doing it was like completely like unwound by the annoyance of stuff like that. So just wasn't going to work anymore. So and at this point, I'm like a Nazi with my time. I won't give it up, period. Gary Keller says it best. Saying yes to one thing is saying no to having time with his family and his dog. So what I hear with that is, yeah, anytime that I'm saying yes to this and it's disappointing me, that's less time that I could be talking to you. That's less time I could talk to my mom. And, we don't know what's going to happen in this world. So there's a balance, but yeah, it's a fine line.
Alex Hormozy, who's my spirit animal, basically, I'll only listen to his content these days.
Really good.
He had an amazing YouTube video come out like 2 days ago that said, people on longevity time, when you do a favor somebody, when you fix the problem in that moment, that's the highest they'll ever view you as fixing the favor. After time goes on, they'll create a mindset of, well, I would have figured it out eventually anyway. So he said, it's not that they don't give a shit about you or they don't value the favor. Like, it's like perfect scenario. Like 5 years from now, when I coached the guy 2 years ago, 7 years removed from it, a lot of life's happened. He's going to be like, yeah, fuck Austin. Like, you know? And so he's like, if you know that as the one providing the favor, he says, then you should in turn ask for, you know, the testimony of the referral right after the coaching's done, because they'll be in the highest form because you fixed them and stuff like that. And it really reshaped the way I look at stuff, because then you're not faulting them or not even looking at anything, because you're saying, okay, well, it's whatever. They're removed from said thing, right? And so
I think the expectations is also a big part of it. You know, at this point now, it might sound cynical, but I'd say it's more stoic. I don't think you have any expectations of anybody. Expect nothing from anyone. Like the higher you set your hopes in people, the more you're going to be disappointed. And then when they do something great for you, it's just an awesome surprise. But the people that I see that are extremely unhappy and stressed out seem to be way too heavily weighted in the expectations of what they think other people are going to do for them. And then they're constantly disappointed. You know, like I have family members that they have high weight in what this person didn't call me back, or this person, I always facilitate the relationship to go out to dinner. I'm like, what are we even talking about here? Like, you know, it is what it is.
One of my favorite sayings is, stop watering the plant next to you for 30 days and see how long you've been watering weeds.
That's a huge part of this. I had to learn it. You know, I think it's not really taught, but that's a great expression.
Because I think ultimately what this all boils down to is two things. You're in full control of who you are and what you do, which is amazing. And then you're fully self-aware of what you need in your life.
Yeah. I mean, again, it takes time to learn, but I think if people take one thing from this episode, which is I never really talk about this otherwise, or me in general, like you'll be happier if you remove your connection between outcomes and your expectations of people. It just is what it is. That's why at the beginning I was like lean team and lean software and lean, you know, whatever, because it's not it, period. Unless you get around amazing people, which they exist. And like, I think me and you do everything we can to cultivate those relationships and kind of insulate ourselves to those.
I put them in the witness protection program. Yeah. they're all working for me, and nobody will find out who the fuck they are. And I support them. Like, Gary Vee, man, I'm telling you, man, when I was at my lowest, man, all I did was listen to him at 2 a.m. for like 5 hours straight every morning. He said that when you realize as an employer, you work for them, they don't work for you. That's the way I view everything, dude. I buy them courses. I give them bonuses. I give them coaching time. Like, I'm cultivating a team that is bought into the vision. Nobody's ever asked me about money. Like, they're just like, hey man, we know we're going to go do great shit. Pour into them. They pour out to the out world.
Yeah. I mean, and you know what I like to do? I like to test people. I test people all the time because it's an easy
test. What's the test?
I got a funny test for you right here. You're going to love this one. So I've posted sometimes, like I hate dating apps. I find it to be annoying. So a lot of times, like, I'll look for experiments to outsource it. So this kid has been hounding me to mentor him, like hounding me. And I'm like, dude, just join Cashflow Community. It's $15 a month. Like, you'll be on calls. And he's like, I can't afford it. I'm like, bro, but he's hounding me. He's like, when can we play golf? When can we do this? I'm like, I literally texted him this morning. I'm like, hey, bro, I'm like, it looks like you have a hot girlfriend. I'm like, do you have game? I'm like, do you pull? He's like, yeah, I think so. I'm like, well, I need some help messaging on Bumble and Hinge. Like, if you could do that for me, I'll put you in Cashflow Community for free. And that would be a value add. Okay. And I'm like, let's see if he does it.
Here's the deal. I have a deal for this kid. And you can text him right after this. Okay.
I'll DM him.
He can play golf with both you and I. Okay. If he does one thing, he has to go listen to both of our episodes, and I want a full report on life lessons, and I will pay for his golf and his flight out there.
Well, I still want him to message on Hinge for me, bro.
Of course. No, don't tell him this, but I'm saying after he does this, because I agree with you. At some point, like I remember my mentor talked about this. Like, Dude, I remember David Osborne. You know who David Osborne is, right?
Oh yeah.
86 revenue streams. Yeah, dude's a fucking savage.
Oh yeah.
He makes people write like book reports, like, and they have to like fully do them. And he's not fucking around. Like, he's like, tell me what you learned from this book. Tell me what your life goals are. Like, he's not fucking around. Like, that's what people need to understand. And what we've created in society with DMs and everything is everybody feels like they can access everybody. And when they don't respond, they're like, oh, fuck this guy. And I'm like, well, yeah, because there's no barriers anymore.
Yeah, I mean, well, one, I didn't understand it either. I can't imagine what someone who has 500,000 or 1,000,000 followers has. I only have like 130,000.
Can you imagine how many messages they get? I can't.
I'm so curious how they deal with it, if any of them have strategies or it's just a lost cause. But what I also tell people when they DM me, like I made a post on TikTok a couple weeks ago, got a lot of hate, but it was probably one of my most viral posts in like a month. And it was about virtual assistants. I probably had 50 virtual assistants DM me on Instagram. I have a template. I just respond back the same thing to every one of them where I say, send me a selfie video and send me an email with an example of your past work. Literally the same thing. And I send the same subject line. So I have a folder. You know how many people do it? Three people did it. Okay. And they were horrible, but it doesn't matter. At least I respect those people that did it. But it's just like, that's like a cheap way. It's an easy way. But anyway, so then for someone listening, if they want something tactical, if you send a selfie video to someone that you're trying to get in contact with, that'll be 10 times more well received than just a blind message. Hey, I heard you on this pod. Whatever.
I'm going to give them even something more tactical that they don't understand. When you get around enough wealthy people like you and I do, especially people that are in the game for a minute, and you want to really get in their circle, understand that the value that you're going to bring to them doesn't mean shit to them because they have everything, right? Wait for it. But you know what matters to them? Their kids, their wife.
Damn.
And so if you find something that you can give gift to their kid, that kid smiles, boom, you're done, bro. But they're trying to buy some wealthy guy. Dude, when I visited this top tier investor in Arizona and I spent the day with him, I spent $180 and I rented a 1964 Cadillac DeVille on 20s because he was obsessed with Cadillacs. And I showed up to his office with that. He goes, what the fuck is this? And I go, this is what we're driving projects with today. And he's like, get out of here. He goes, why did you do this? And I go, because when I left here today, you're going to know that Austin Linney was fucking here. And he told that story to like 60 people.
Yeah.
Like, what is this? $180? Come on, guys.
It is tough though, because it's like your classic, inch wide, mile deep scenario or dilemma. There's so many people that you know what Hunter Thompson
said. You know what Hunter Thompson says, and Adam, my buddy, lives by this. Hunter Thompson says the problem that you're dealing with is you're following too many people. He goes, he picked 2 or 3 people that you really like and just add value to them. You're trying to do it to 70 people instead of 2. That's the difference.
That is spot on. Like that just reminded me when I was looking for, at the time, I thought a multifamily mentor. I just made a list of 10 people and I was going to send each of them a 10-minute or 5-minute just talking head video, telling them all the things that I'd be able to do, or not able to do, but willing to do or offer up to do. And the first one that I sent it to ended up responding, Joe Fairless. And that was like, but I had a list of 10 people. I didn't have, 10,000. So you're right. That definitely would make it easier for people to just narrow down who's doing what I want to do and then become obsessed with bringing them value. You will have no problem finding your Mount Rushmore of mentors, and you're trading time. You're not trading money. You can get a mentor for free that way, and it's effective, but you're right. I think people are going too wide.
I love it. So if people want to find out about your amazing TikTok videos and your dances that you do on TikTok and all that stuff, how would they do that?
All I'm pushing right now is YouTube. Forget TikTok, forget Instagram, forget everything.
I'm about to go hard. Starting in December, the focus is
the only
YouTube.
Thing I would like, if anyone wants to get in touch, would be to check out YouTube channel. I'll give you the link, Austin, but just search my name on YouTube. I put out 2 videos a week. One is a talking head on something tactical, informative that you can take action with immediately right after. If it's buying your first Airbnb, hiring your first virtual assistant, flipping your first property, step by step. Austin knows I'm not fluff. Everything we do, we turn into a process so that we can either train someone else or sell it as a strategy or teach it. So that's that. We do a podcast on there as well. But anyone that checks that out, I do have some goodies and giveaways for people that check out the YouTube channel and subscribe. So if you check out any of the videos and comment and DM me a screenshot on Instagram, I will send you our free Airbnb tools. This is our furniture checklist, our deal analyzer checklist, and our lender comparison. So that's it. YouTube. If you want to check out TikTok, yeah, it's funny and it's stupid and you'll see some weird ass shit, but I would say if you're looking to connect more and get more of like comprehensive stuff, YouTube for sure. And there's a lot more coming there.
Awesome. Guys, if you got some value from this episode, send it out to your friends, share it with somebody that'll enjoy it, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Austin.
Thank you for listening to Construct Your Life with Austin Linney. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to rate, review, subscribe, and pay it forward by sharing with a friend. Most importantly, take this opportunity to start constructing your life by taking immediate action on what you learned. For show notes, resources, and more information on one-on-one coaching with Austin, visit constructyourlifepodcast.com.